everybody! So you might have noticed that although in my videos a lot of times I traveled internationally to big cities, I do really like small towns too. And a few years ago I went to Trempealeau, Wisconsin, and I very much liked it. One of my best experiences in Wisconsin. And it just had a really nice small town feeling. First, I went to dinner at Sullivan supper club. And I actually didn't know what supper clubs were, but apparently they're relatively common in small towns, particularly in Wisconsin. And traditionally, they're like family-owned restaurants, typically serve surf and turf. And then compared to a normal restaurant, they're more like a social setting. Traditionally, people would come to socialize and to eat. So that was really a cool experience. And Sullivan's Supper Club is also right on the Mississippi River, which is really cool. And then after, I went to the local lock and dam in Trempealeau. And essentially, it's the first time also that I've ever seen a lock and dam in use. And so on the Mississippi River, there's certain parts that are too shallow for big boats to go down. And years ago, the Mississippi River was a huge need for transporting goods. So basically the dam traps water, so it makes the water level higher upstream, which would traditionally be too shallow during dry seasons. And then now, because it's trapping water up here, down below there's like a step. So past the dam, it's lower water, more shallow, lower water essentially. And typically boats wouldn't just be able to go over a dam like that. So there's a lock, and a lock is a separate container on the side of the river, and basically a boat, in most cases barges, which also I learned about barges. Barges are typically large water vessels like ships, and don't usually have their own motor, so they just flow with the current. And if they need to go against the current, they would be pulled or tugged by an additional boat, like a tugboat. So you have the lock, it's this rectangular area. It fills up with water, so it's equal water level to above the dam. And then your barge can just float right in. And then while it's in the lock empties and drains its water, making the boat lower down, and now it's equal with the level of the water past the dam. And then it can float right out. And so you think this is actually a ton of work on this river to allow for barge transportation. But actually, barges are quite efficient. I think the exact number, I'm not sure, is like 15 or 18 semi-trucks is equivalent to one barge. And because these barges don't use their own propulsion, they're very fuel efficient. So they were used a lot in the past, but they're still used now. It was interesting, some of the containers on the barge were open, so you could see in them. Oftentimes they're used for scrap metals or logs. It is a pretty slow process to float down the Mississippi. But it's, overall, I really liked the experience because it was relaxing, it was simple, it was educational, and it was something I had never done before. It reminded me of my home, but also in a way that I could learn new things. So, despite people saying, there's not much to do in that area, it's definitely a small area, I'm pretty happy that I got to visit Trempealeau. Thanks for watching, and check back next week for another video.